Hey, I'm Dawn of the World, and hi! Today I'll be shining a light on One Piece chapter 1032, Odin's beloved sword. No. The chapter opens on Izo and Marco, and they are on the move. Perhaps they're headed to where Kiko is, given that Izo may be concerned for his sister. Also, I just realized that Marco could probably totally heal her. If this is the case, they'll likely run into Usopp pretty soon, because I think he's headed there as well. And it's always a good time with Usopp, so I'm pretty keen for that. And guess who yet again gets a mention, and on the first page of the chapter no less. It's our pesky little fire friend. I was gonna reach out to you guys and ask you to help me name them, but it turns out that it already has a name from chapter 1030, and it's Kazenbo. I quickly looked it up, and it turns out to be a Japanese yokai left behind as the restless spirit of monks who died around 1000 years ago through means of self-immolation, and appears as a burning figure. How lovely. So what I gather is that this is some kind of creature who's unable to rest in peace and pass on to the next world, and instead kind of stays behind as a haunting apparition. Which raises the question, is Kanjuro actually dead now, and this is some kind of last after death act of his fruit? Another thing we've been wondering about this Kazenbo since back when it was a basic non-sentient fire is what greater role it will play here in Onigashima, seeing as it has been mentioned in pretty much every chapter since it was ignited, especially in regards to the cache of gunpowder and weaponry, and it has the potential to set all of that off without Onigashima even needing to fall to the earth below. And in this chapter, that thought even crossed Yamato's mind. This has a huge potential to get explosive, and then this pesky little fire will affect everyone. So it is serving a greater purpose after all, and Yamato is now in a greater hurry to stop that from happening. And Fuga is a centaur. I didn't realize before this point. Did we know this before now? Very punk hazard of him. Sounds like he and Yamato were now working together to quench this bomb business. There's lots of teamwork this arc, and I can't mention Wano and teamwork without talking about Robin and Brook. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll likely do a whole video on them in the future. Robin and Brook have been wonderful this arc. Their teamwork, the looking out for each other, the trauma bonding, West Blue has me covered. As for their quick roles in this chapter, Robin was ready to fight, but at the same time she and Brook seem to be pretty keen to avoid altercation with the CP0 agents, which is pretty difficult seeing as they are being chased by said CP0 agents. I guess in Brook's mind, not that he has a brain, but you know, I guess in Brook's mind he wants to get Robin as far away from the CP0 as possible to lower any potential risk of her being snatched up. I wonder if he knows anything more about the CP0 since he has on numerous occasions demonstrated knowledge beyond expectations, but I guess that would depend on whether or not the CP0 existed 52 years ago. As for CP0's role this chapter, this may have somewhat debunked some elements of my last video, but only somewhat. The main question that I have is, where's the other one? There were clearly 3 CP0 officers earlier, but the third one has gone walkabout somewhere. It'd be kind of cool if that third one that's missing is actually the one that's in charge, and we've just all assumed that it's that shorter guy because he's the one that's been doing all the talking, all the communicating with Rob Lucci, etc. But seriously, where is the guy? It's like when there's a huntsman spider in your house on the wall and you're like, ooh, and then you look away for a moment or do something, and then you look back and the spider's gone, and you're like, oh no, because you know that it's still there, but you don't know where. I'm not going to be scared that a spider's going to crawl on me tonight now. Come to think of it, the one that is missing is the same one Orochi shot at earlier in this arc, so I don't know if that's going to be of any significance. Anyway, Drake and Apu are kind of working together after all. I guess it's an enemy of my enemy kind of deal with them right now. They're certainly not friends, and Drake doesn't want to work with Apu against Luffy, but if CP0 is the enemy of both of them and he's gonna take one of the officers while Apu takes the other one, then have at it, I suppose. Sword versus CP0 is a very nice touch now that I think about it. Don't you think? Another big question that I have is, what will this mean for Drake's future status as a member of Sword? His cover has totally been blown. What will this mean for Sword itself? I feel like this is going to have really big repercussions in the future of the story. And perhaps another even bigger question is, how do the CP0 know of Drake's allegiance? Do they have someone on the inside? Are they aware of the identities of other Sword officers? What could this mean for Kobe or whoever else may may or may not be part of Sword. I also just want to say that this is a very nice transition from the whole Yamato entourage. Yamato being chased by Fuga, being chased by Apu, being chased by Drake, with Robin and Brook and them crossing paths. Like, they cross paths and they don't even communicate, they just keep going their separate ways to fulfill their separate goals. I suppose it makes sense we'd see separate parties crossing paths at some points here. I wonder if Robin and Brook will soon run into Frankie or Jinbei, because I don't think they're that far from them, but it's kind of difficult to tell where everybody is, where they're headed, what they're doing. I feel like I need a map. Is there a current map of where everyone's at? Yes, Perona's Ghost on Twitter seems to be making an updated map for every chapter, where everyone is, where everyone's headed. You're doing God's work here, Perona's Ghost. I might even link them in the description below if you want to take a better look. It's really quite helpful actually to get a bit of an idea of what's going on, because there's so many characters. Onigashima is such a big place. It really helps kind of manage everything. Apu's remark here almost seems like a fourth wall nudging comment to the fandom. People seem to underestimate him a lot, like he's not a supernova, like he's not part of the worst generation, like he wouldn't be plenty strong in his own right. But anyway, we love to see a CP0 member totally get bodied by the DJ. Now moving on to the Zoro versus King portion of the chapter. As soon as I saw this panel, I was bombarded with the images of dinosaurs past, and I was like, okay Oda, what's it gonna be this time? From now on, if I ever see another dinosaur character in One Piece, I'll be waiting for the wacky hijinks that are bound to unfold, and then my mind will still be done in by whatever Oda manages to conjure up. And then of course there's the "just like in prehistoric times" comment. Yeah, of course Oda, of course. I love how if you were to question Oda about his dinosaur choices, if you were like, I don't think dinosaurs actually did that, he would probably respond with, were you there? Were you there during the Cretaceous? Can you tell me that the Stegosaurus didn't use its spines as a razor blade to cut pieces of wood in half and build houses? The Stegosaurus is actually a Triassic dinosaur, not a Cretaceous dinosaur, so that's my error, sorry guys. Anyway, Oda would be like, were you there during the Triassic? And I would say, no. Point taken, and I love him for that. I have to say I admire his duality, like he updates page 1's dino design due to new paleontological findings on the creature, but then he pulls this, and this, and this absolute nightmare fuel. I'm proud to say that around 10 years ago, I wrote a fan fiction where the Straw Hats visited an island that was simultaneously prehistoric but also had really advanced futuristic technology, and there were cyborg dinosaurs there. Not cyborg dinosaur fruit users, but just regular cyborg dinosaurs. Like there was an actual Stegosaurus that was cyborg enhanced and hollowed out, so it was like a bus as well, and I think it had some propellers and could fly. Anyway, you're here to hear about the chapter, not just some fanfiction. Zoro is having a bit of a rough time there, buddy, which is honestly unsurprising since he's up against King, who's totally mega strong, and he's done a good job getting this far as it is, especially considering his exchange with Kaido and Big Mom earlier. The way he says, I don't think I can win without knowing what he is, so I guess in order to defeat King, he's going to have to learn about him and his race somehow. And Enma, what are you doing? Has Enma awakened or whatever this is because of what Zoro has just said? Or is it awakening because it can hear Hiyori playing a mean shamisen out there and is like, ah yes, the song of my people. This is my jam. Turn that shit up. And really, what is Enma doing? Is this like, is it going to turn into a person? Is it a Zanpakuto? Wrong series, but neat idea. Reminds me, apparently the people of Ringo, which is where Zoro may be from, are gifted with a sword from birth. Does this mean Zoro would have a birth sword? And where is it? That's like a companion from birth that he's been missing for his whole entire life. Where's that reunion? Could him having a missing birth companion be something akin to having a missing half? Possibly have something to do with why he gets lost all the time? Because in his subconscious, he knows that a part of him is missing, and he's just always trying to find this missing piece, this sword, this companion that's a part of him that's been missing from him since birth. Or maybe I'm just desperately trying to look for excuses for a lost cause. Anyway, Hiyori, who I presume was the figure from, I think it was 1003 chapter. It's time for another kind of tangent. You know, I've actually learned a fair bit about the shamisen recently for non-One Piece related reasons, believe it or not. Shamisen can apparently get really, really loud actually, so it's not beyond possibility that Zoro would be able to hear Hiyori's playing from wherever he is. They're seriously so cool, and if you want to hear some really beautiful performance, I would recommend this channel. I don't know if it's going to let me link the channel in the video, but I'll link the channel down in the description there. If you want to have a bit of a sneaky listen, hear a bit of what Onigashima can hear right now, minus the violence, dinosaurs, and bloodshed. Oh, Orochi. Your minutes are numbered. Keep in mind that Hiyori not only wants this man dead, but she wants to be the one to kill him. So while this battle is raging on, she's just sat there looking picture perfect, so put together, so beautiful, so pretty, strumming away at the shamisen to lure in Orochi. This is big dick energy if I've ever seen it. Check out this shirt that I got the day this chapter dropped, like before I'd even read the chapter. Check it out, it's her! I'm so cramped right now. I can't get this. No space. No space. But anyway, it's from Uniqlo's Wano range that has just dropped in Australia a whole 6 months after the rest of the world. Not sponsored, God no, but if you are a One Piece fan, it is 100% worth checking out. If you're in the Sydney area, George Street Uniqlo has the full range, and I will be buying more. Anyway guys, let me know your thoughts on the chapter. Don't forget to leave a sneaky like and subscribe. I'm Dawn of the World, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.